Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm so glad you're watching this video and that you desire to be a mentor, or at least you're thinking about becoming a mentor. My guess is a mentor coach or a leader of a ministry you're connected with gave you this video. I just want to let you know that if you are brand new to mentoring or if you've been volunteering at a program for some time, you are in the right place. In this video, we will unpack our vision of mentoring, and if a ministry leader gave you this video, it's because their vision aligns with what we're about to share. Our hope is that you walk away from this video having more clarity, knowing if you are being led by God to do this type of mentoring, or maybe it's just not a right fit for you. Either way, we hope this video blesses you and is helpful to you. There are so many different types of mentoring. Mentoring is such a broad term and can mean so many different things to different people. This is why it's critical to have a clear vision and definition of the mentoring that we're talking about. It allows us to have unified hearts that align and are around the same definition of mentoring. We call this type of mentoring life on life. We'll be using mentoring and life on life interchangeably throughout the entire course. So in this video specifically, we're going to unpack three things regarding the big picture of mentoring. First, what is the goal of mentoring? Second, how do we get there? And third, why do we care so much about these youth? So let's start with what's the goal of mentoring. The ultimate goal of mentoring is that youth experience Jesus' love through a relationship with a Jesus follower. Through this relationship, our hope is that they not only experience love from the mentor, but they can see and experience the love of Jesus. Our hope is that one day, in God's timing, our mentees will choose to believe and follow Jesus for themselves. This is something we cannot control or make happen. Our role is just to faithfully love them with Jesus-type love, and it's in God's hands if they ever follow him. So how do we get there? Jesus can bring people to himself however he chooses, but in the Word, we see that he primarily does this through his people. He does it through relationships of being known and loved. This usually happens over a long period of time. So if we desire for youth to come to know Jesus and have a relationship with him, it often happens by them first having a relationship where they are known and loved by one of Jesus' followers. We know we cannot change a person's heart, but rather we partner with the Holy Spirit. We are joining Jesus on his mission of bringing the lost to himself. We get to team up with him and the Holy Spirit in what they're doing, and we get to be the literal hands and feet of Jesus, being agents of healing. We are not the source of power itself, but we are the instruments that power runs through. What a wild thing, y'all. God saves and heals broken sinners like us and uses us to bring healing to other broken sinners. So why do we care? We care about these youth because Jesus cares about these youth. We are compelled by Jesus' love for us to love others. Jesus has loved us sacrificially in so many ways, so how can we not seek to love others with Jesus type of love? So when it all boils down, it can be summed up in this. It is all about relationships. What is the goal? The youth one day having a relationship with Jesus. How does it happen? How do we get there? Through a relationship with us, a Jesus follower. And why do we care? We care because of our relationship with Jesus. We are overwhelmed by Jesus' love, and we desire to love others just like how he loves us. So everything is about relationships. So now, to put it all together, I'd like to just share our current working definition of what life on life is. Life on life is an authentic, long-term, Christ-centered relationship fueled by Jesus' love. It's a mentor who is compelled by Jesus' sacrificial love for them to sacrificially love their mentee for the long haul, regardless of the outcomes. It's a relationship that goes well beyond the walls of a program and transcends into everyday life. It is a mentor willing to invite their mentee into their life as well as being willing to dive into their mentee's life. It's being willing to not only teach God's truth, but a willingness to stay and model. What does it look like to follow Jesus in everyday life? We model our mentoring after Jesus' example. Jesus invested deeply into a few. His willingness to say, "Come follow me," is what changed the world. And that's the power of God, but it's also the power of his method, life on life. All right, y'all. So now we have clearly defined the type of mentoring we are talking about. Now it's time to unpack the differences and the purpose between relationships and programs. Let's start by how we view programs. We see programs as a safe, consistent place where relationships can begin and grow, often around a common interest. Programs can take many forms. Programs could be in the form of weekly programs, events, trips, sports, or hobbies. Programs are a consistent gathering place around a common interest. Programs' purpose is primarily to start or foster relationships. They may have other purposes like to teach a life skill, which is important and valuable as well, but programs are a tool to be used in ministry. They themselves are not the entirety of ministry. Whenever the program itself becomes a focal point of ministry, priorities have been mixed up and we have forgotten the purpose of the program, which is people. This happens all the time and we don't want to get things twisted. The purpose of programs is primarily to build relationships. We see programs, right, as a safe, consistent place where youth and volunteers can start and foster relationships. But the goal is always to grow relationships to the point where you can take it outside of the program. And that's because the real deep impact actually happens through relationships. Relationships are the ministry. And if we want to have deep impact, we must invest in relationships. It's important to understand that relationships just don't happen. They take tending to and investing in order to grow, kind of like a plant. You don't buy a plant and leave it alone expecting it to grow and bear much fruit. Nah, you have to tend to it and giving it nutrients, water, sunlight, everything it needs, and by investing it slowly over a long period of time. Then the roots can grow deep and the plant can grow. Any relationship is similar. It needs investment into. A mentor-mentee relationship's no different. Growth happens through a multitude of experiences between a mentor and mentee over a long period of time. Some of these experiences may even feel small and not very impactful in the youth's lives, but over time, these small experiences add up, which is really what creates the depth of the relationship and helps the roots grow deeper. So, to impact a kid's life, it will be, but not limited to, how much time and love you invest in them. If you don't want to invest time and love, then I hate to say it, but you don't really want to be a mentor. This is something to really check your heart about. All right, to wrap this up, I want to share a brief story of an example of how one mentor and mentee relationship got started within a program and it became much more. So this mentor began serving at a local youth program for middle schoolers. Over time, by being consistent at the program, he got to know a number of boys. There was one specific boy who actually is one of the boys who gave him a hard time in regard to behavior at the program. But once he had enough relational capital built with this young man and his mother, he began to grab breakfast with him a couple times a month. This led to more trust being built between the mentor and mentee, and the mentor invited the young man to help a friend move. The young man said he wanted to help, so they spent a Saturday morning helping someone move, and afterwards they grabbed lunch. This became a regular thing, the mentor inviting this young man along to things he was already doing. Within the first year of the relationship, the young man started to call him his mentor. Fast forward 5 years, they're still connected to this day and have an even deeper relationship. The mentor got to see this middle schooler grow now into a high school student. The mentor and mentee know one another on a much deeper level. The mentor learned about his mentee's father wound from not having his father in his life, and he learned about his joys and challenges and fears. Over the years, the mentor has been able to share countless times about how wonderful Jesus is and how much Jesus cares about this young man. Recently, in a conversation the mentor was having with the mentee's mother about the mentee's behavior and the lack of motivation he has in school, she told the mentor, and I'm paraphrasing, "I know God has a plan, and he put you in my son's life for a reason. My son loves you and thinks so highly of you." And she concluded, "Please don't give up on him and keep spending time and praying for him." Man, God isn't finished writing the story of this mentor and mentee's relationship. There is still so much left to be written. But one thing's true, man. God is using this relationship to grow, challenge, and change the hearts of both the mentor and mentee. So now you got a clear vision of the type of mentoring we're talking about. You got a practical example of what this can look like. So now the ask is Jesus calling you to do this? And are you willing? May God give you wisdom and discernment on your journey. Grace and peace.